vision.
Leverage the Hedera Layer 1 functionalities, first smart contractless, decentralized,
Mathematically superior algorithm.
Cryptocurrency protocol that has ever been created. Trustless infrastructure that is secure, fast, and infinitely scalable.
You can do everything you want on Hedera and you don't even need a smart contract.
The NFT projects, the NFT Launchpad.
We can make anything happen.
Innovative technology that's never been seen before and effectively make history.
Wow, that's exciting. So DEX, DeFi, this is the future.
Decentralized or enterprise.
So this Twitter EMA will be broken into 3 segments over the course of the next hour. The first segment will be what HSuite is currently working on and releasing. The second segment will be pre-Twitter EMA questions and answers. And then finally, open mic to the community. If I can answer the question, I'll answer it on our next bi-weekly Twitter EMA. But please do bear in mind, I am not a software developer. So any of the technical questions, that's why it's best to get on our Discord and ask them 5 days before our Twitter EMA. Okay, 2 seconds. Give me a second. We're trying to get hold of Sergeant Major. Okay, I'll deal with that after. Okay, that being said, let's move on to our first segment. Okay, so what are we working on so far? So our interview with Genfinity goes live tomorrow. That is a video interview with myself, Tapachi, and King Solomon. Only I'm on the video, but it's a quick 10-minute video explaining about what HSuite is and what we hope to achieve. So that will go live tomorrow. Check out Genfinity. And then we will eventually post it up on our YouTube. Also, our DAO engine is nearly complete, which is great because it means that all future DAO proposals will go through our system. But we will also be offering this service to other projects, Hedera projects. So if they want to implement a DAO system, they will be able to rent this software from us, and they will be able to do DAO proposals themselves. Our DEX is ready. It's been fully tested by Holborn Security and it's working perfectly. But we're considering our round 2 is still running and we're waiting for the foundation response. We're going to wait a few more weeks in order to provide our users the best experience in terms of number of pools, liquidity amounts, and yield farmings. Meanwhile, we're currently working on a mystery product, which we can't talk about just yet, but that will be announced on our next Twitter EMA when hopefully we go live a couple of days after that. Also, just to let you all know as well that we are currently in the process of working on our ShibRD app, which will have a game focus. So ShibR token will have a utility. So that will be around games that we're currently developing. So that is the first segment of our EMA. Now let's go on to the question sheet that was prepped. Okay, bear with me 2 moments. Okay, so the first question was asked is, what are the efforts to list on a CEX? So obviously in the future we will be looking to get listed on a CEX. However, before proceeding into that direction, we want to make sure that we have enough liquidity secured and more DApp features before we venture down that avenue. Also, we need to sell more tokens. Are there any update on progress with support from the HBAR foundations? Any obstacles we are expecting? They're expecting of HSuite. We're currently in talks with them, and we will keep everyone up to date with significant information when that comes through, and we will share that with the public. But consider this: that many of the projects that received grants from the HBAR Foundation, they had to go through an extensive process, and it did take a couple of months. So it's not a quick process. You don't just send an email and say, "Hey guys, we want to get funded and work together," and they send you an email back and say, "Look, there you go, you've been accepted. Here's $500,000." It's a rigorous process that people have to go through, and sometimes it can take a couple of months. So that's that question. Another question: what historic project do you think will be the first project to launch on HSuite? Well, we're in contact with some of the biggest projects on Hedera at the moment in order to see how we can partner collaboration with them. Again, we don't do announcements of announcements. So once those partnerships and collaborations have been confirmed, we will let you all know. So we are working on a number at the minute, and once they've been confirmed, we will let you know in due time. When CoinGecko listing? Okay, so yes, a similar question to the CEX. It should come as soon as we get listed on a centralized exchange. So as you know, you need to get listed on a centralized exchange before you can do that. Those go down that kind of route. So someone put, I want a better understanding of how HSuite token will work. Will there be a staking tool for HSuite, or will it be an LP with HBAR/other projects? Okay, so HSuite is a governance and utility token. There will be different ways of earning HSuite, such as running nodes, staking, collecting fees from providing liquidity pools, and so on. When open source? Okay, so we expect to go open source between Q1, Q2 in 2023. After we will be releasing the smart nodes to the public and make sure that we have a completed base model with many features before we open source, to make sure there's no issues and technical problems that we run into. So that's segment 2 complete. There wasn't many questions, so I do apologise for that. This was something that I changed today just to give the Twitter AMA more structure. So how it will go going on forward, 5 days before our bi-weekly Twitter AMA, I will enable the Twitter AMA questions on the Discord, and then you're free to ask any questions related to HSuite. I will then talk to the team, and then we will address the questions, and I will speak at segment 2, addressing those questions. So hopefully on our next bi-weekly Twitter AMA, we have more answers and questions for you. So that leads us to segment 3, which is open mic. So if anyone has any questions regarding HSuite or what we're building, please feel free to request a microphone, and we'll bring you up as a speaker. Okay, 2 seconds. Yeah, go ahead, Meta Zombies.
So for the SHIBAR token, you said that there would be gamification. Does that also carry over to the HSuite token? Or will it just be for the SHIBAR token?
So the games will be made obviously using HSuite technology, but to start off with, the games will be in the SHIBAR D app. So obviously the HSuite D app is obviously focused on the DEX and all the other features that we've got, and the games will primarily be for SHIBAR. Also in the future, once that is fully done and built, we will be able to white label that and also offer those gaming systems to projects that want to build utility for their project. So we'll be able to, let's say for instance, Meta Zombie wanted games. We may be able to create custom games like zombies attacking each other and offer that as a service to your product using your native token, but the fees will be payable in SHIBAR. That way it creates a demand and a utility for SHIBAR. So, okay, so just brought up Sergeant Major. He had a few technical issues, but I just want to introduce him. Going forward, how the Twitter AMAs will work is due to obviously the team needing more development power, Tapachi will be now taking a more offline focus and coding, while I will take the lead for Twitter AMAs, supported by our community admin, Sergeant Major. So, Sergeant Major, if you'd just like to introduce yourself to the community.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. In future, going forward, I'll be helping add Mortis with the AMAs. But it's nice to be here, and I'll just be listening here pretty much from now on.
Fantastic. Thank you for being here, Sergeant Major. I know he's got a bad voice at the moment, so we'll try to keep the questions to a minimum for Sergeant Major. But yeah, that's pretty much covered it everywhere from what we're currently working on. We'll also have our NFT token manager system that should be released soon as well. That's basically where you'll be able to mint NFTs on Hedera and your own token if you don't want to use a launchpad, for instance. So that service should be going out soon as well. And as I said about the decks, we don't really want to release it until until we know it's going to be a success. Because we don't have the first advantage mover in the such as we can't just release a basic DEX, because obviously there are other DEXs in the works that are already live. So we need to make sure that we're on par with the other DEXs when we go live. So, yeah. 2 seconds. Someone's requested to speak. Umar, once the mic is connected, please feel free to ask your question. Umar, please feel free to ask your question. How can I help? Hello? No? Okay, no worries. Does anyone else have any other questions while we're waiting for Umar to connect?
Real quick, Umar, if you are on your computer, you can't speak in the spaces. You do have to be on your phone, unfortunately.
Yeah, we can hear the speaker now. How can I help? Fantastic. Hadira Enjoyer, how can I help?
Hi there. I'm just curious as to what the exact utility of the HSuite token is. If you could explain that, I would appreciate it.
The utility, it's a governance token, and all the DApp and other features that we bring out will revolve around using HSuite. So, for example, we're building an NFT marketplace. We have an NFT launchpad. We have an NFT token builder. So, all these functionalities will require the use of HSuite. So, HSuite is also linked to the price of HBAR. So, the better that HBAR performs, so does our token. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
No worries. Do you have any other questions while you're up here?
Not at the time, but I'm just happy to swap my sauce for HBAR Suite.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Another question for you, Ed Mortis. With your second round of buy-in, how far are you along on that right now, and how long is that going for? Did you hear my question, Ed Mortis?
I'm an idiot, and I had my mic on mute while I was answering the question. So to apologise about that. So at the moment, at the minute we've sold about, I think, 2.5 million out of a 6 billion supply. So obviously, as we know, it's a lot easier to sell a working product than it is the idea of a product. Obviously, there's already DEXs that have gone live. So the focus is the mystery project that we are working on, that I can't announce just yet, which will be on our next Twitter EMA, should drive more demand for our token sales. And as I said, we are also in talks with the HBAR Foundation. So we're not going to burn the supply of the token. Will be there, and it's there. And then when people see the utility around HSuite and what it can provide, and eventually the tokens will be sold. So we are in, as I said, we are talking. There are partnerships that we are looking into at the moment, but as I said, we're not going to announce those until until they've been finalised. So we're not worried about selling it. You know, there are enough funds in the treasury. It's not like that we can't afford to launch, because we have, you know, the audit's already been paid for. You know, the DEX is ready to go pretty much. We just got to finish up on a couple of things. And as I said, we're releasing a mystery product as such, which I think the NFT community will love, which will, again, in turn, you will have to use HSuite to be able to use it. So it drives more demand and more utility for the token. And as we all know, tokens are based on utility value. So the more utility of the token has, the more valuable it becomes.
No, I am really interested in the gamification aspect for projects that I'm involved in, with Meta Zombies, with Teddies, with the Sloths. That sort of stuff does interest me. And you said that you are able to basically white label that and do like a custom gamification. So it would be basically our own brand. So would it have like HSuite logos everywhere, or you know, if we build a game with zombies, will there be zombies with HSuite coin heads running around? Or like when you say like white label, how white label is it? Does it look like it's a complete custom job, or?
Yeah, so good question. So there will be two services required. Obviously, the prices will differ. There will be the classic games that we have that can be white labeled and sold as a service. But if you want something customly made, so if you want us to make you a game, let's say specifically Meta Zombies, that will be your project, your product. It'll be white labeled for you. You know, if you want to mention, you know, that HSuite built it for you, then that would be greatly appreciated. But it will be running off our smart nodes and stuff. So it technically it is your product, but it's powered by our technology.
No, that's really it's an interesting aspect when you talk about this, because devs are hard to come by. Affordable devs are even harder to come by, especially in Hedera, because we don't have a lot of developers in the space. We do have some developers here, but they're developing their own projects and own products. So I am curious about like cost associated with it, but obviously it's not out yet, so it's hard to discuss, you know, how much it's going to cost dollar wise. Will these services be only purchasable with the HSuite token, or is it purchasable with HBAR?
Yeah, again, great question. Again, so it's the games are being developed, so we haven't really looked at the pricing yet, because we want to release the games before we can gauge, because obviously we need to build the games, we need to integrate it into Hedera and be able to run it on our software, and then we need to look how much time and energy that's cost us. Obviously, we want to make it as affordable as we can to the community, like we did with our NFT staking. But the more custom jobs, as you said, you know, will cost more money, because obviously we're specifically making that game for your project. Whereas with the other games, you know, 10 different projects can all use those games. So, you know, it's not like it is like a copy and paste as such, but once the coding is already done for those games, you can then offer that to a service somewhere else. But if you want a custom game, that takes longer in development. So I don't actually know what currency we will probably use. It will probably be a mixture between HBAR and HSuite, or maybe even SHIBAR. Again, that's a question further down the line I'd have to have with the other co-founders of how we want to structure that. It was, the announcement was more just to make the community aware that we haven't forgot about SHIBAR, and we are working on the D app for Shibar, which will have a game focus. So I'm not saying this is going to be done anytime soon where we'll be able to just white label it and offer it to everyone else, but it is just something in development that we are working on and planning on releasing in the future.
Yeah, I apologize for asking, future questions. Just trying to pick your brain while I got you on Spaces and kind of get some ideas of, if I should be stocking up right now on HSuite token or if I should always be stocking up on HSuite token.
Well, yeah, but of course, it's never financial advice. But one thing I will say is that every feature that we bring out, be it the NFT marketplace, Launchpad, NFT Launchpads, it will all incorporate HSuite token. And Shibar Games will incorporate Shibar. And by doing so, it provides utility for the Shibar and HSuite token on two different angles.
Awesome. Yeah, it's actually a very interesting process because, you've been around in the space for a while, and when HBAR Suite first came out, when it was first discussed, it was going to be just a DEX. That was the only plan from day one, was just a DEX. And then the staking came about, and then Launchpad, and then Token Marketplace. All of these things have come out from HBAR Suite as well. It's interesting because, when we talked about this, I talk to Ed Mortis all the time. So a lot of you guys don't know the conversations that we have, but it was just supposed to be a DEX to start off with, but then there was needs from the community for these other things because we're so early and we didn't have availability for this stuff. It's just really awesome to see, not only do you have your crew working on the DEX, but also the staking platform, also a marketplace, also a launch pad, also token services. It's just a complete array of products in one umbrella. So it's really cool to see that you guys are doing so much, and I'm impatiently hitting the button. Just when's this going to open? When? I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see what all you guys come out with.
No, I appreciate your kind words. Obviously, I can't take all the credit for it because, again, I'm not a software developer. The geniuses are Tamachi, Tapachi, and the development team that work offline. They are the true geniuses behind the product. And as I said from the beginning, HBAR Suite is a brand with a whole suite of services. And we will be adding new things to the roadmap in the future when more proposals come in from the community, what they would like us to build. And then obviously the DAO will vote on it to see if it's what the community wants. So, as I said, the HSuite is a governance token, and that's how the voting system will work. Uma, you have a question?
I have a question. What is the market cap? I mean, the maximum supply of HSuite token, since that information isn't readily available.
Yes, sorry. So the max cap supply is currently 50 billion.
Umar, we moved you up. If you have a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, Sergeant Major, can you just take over just for a moment while I answer these questions on Discord? Thank you.
Sure. If anyone else has a question, if you'd request to come up, I'll move you up. You can ask, and I'll do my best to help. Uma, I think you might need to enable your microphone. There you go. Umar, are you with us?
While we're waiting for Umar to get his microphone thing figured out, I do have a question about staking, real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure. Just bear in mind, I'm not one of the dev team or the founders, but
Oh
I'll do
man,
my
I'm
best.
gonna hit you with
I'm,
some of the hard questions right now. Then I'm gonna
but
get you while Ed Mortis is not around, while he's not paying attention. I'm gonna hit you with all kinds of hard questions.
put me on the spot. Yeah, this is probably my let's see my recruitment trial. Yeah, call it my trial by fire. This is a secret ploy by Ed Mortis. I'm just gonna disappear and drop him in the deep end and see whether he sinks or swims. So yeah, do your worst.
He does this all the time. Don't take it personal.
No.
Mike, I was just kind of curious. I would like to see more gamification with staking. What I mean by that is, I do like. There's a lot of things that I like about staking on other chains. One thing that I really like to see, what I would like to see on Hedera, is a staking platform that is non-custodial, which means it doesn't take it out of your wallet, but you also have to go to a site to be able to stake your token, be able to claim your rewards at any point in time, whether it be one, reward token, or if you want to unstake, if you want to claim all of your rewards at one time, a claim all button, or stake all, unstake all button. Something that has gamification with the staking. I like interaction. I like to be able to move my stuff around. I like to be able to see it in my wallet. I like to be able to interact with it. Is this something that has been talked about, building a staking platform instead of like the passive staking? I do like the passive staking. We're doing it with Meta Zombies. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but I like gamification. I like being able to click things and move things around and see how it works and watch it accrue. Just curious if this is something that's been talked about or something that's in the works, or.
Well, what I would say to that is really quite simple. The whole purpose of staking from an investor's perspective, which is mine, the whole purpose of staking to begin with is to accrue rewards, some form of APY, to gain on your initial investment on your current holdings, to make gains on that. As you all know, the HSuite team have developed some new technologies like the smart nodes, that sort of thing. Along with that is the NFT staking. So obviously you've spoken about that before. You enjoy it, but you also enjoy this gamification side of things. I'm not sure I completely understand where you're coming from with that, but if I'm getting that right, you just like that kind of interaction. My reply to that would be not really a counter, but kind of a side angle would be that, is there a purpose behind that? If you know what I mean. Developers aren't going to really develop something for the sake of it if it doesn't actually serve a purpose. So what I'm trying to say is no one's going to add interaction to something, especially when, no one's into HBAR or into dexes or into wallets for fun. I don't think anyone really calls that fun, if you know what I mean. It's money, so it has to be considered serious business. People are investing, if you see where I'm coming from. So, they're not going to add interaction just for the sake of it. They're not going to make you jump through a couple more hoops or click on a couple of extra things just so that you feel like you interacted with the project or protocol or whatever decks you were using. They're not going to add a couple of extra clicks just so that you felt that you did more to get to the same result, if you know what I mean. That's just adding unneeded complexity in their coding and fluff, if you know what I mean. I'm all for keeping things simplistic. As an investor in HSuite, I hope they keep things simplistic. And I'd rather something is solid, and the staking system, whatever that might turn out to be built around something that isn't some kind of Ponzi scheme, if you know what I mean, something silly. It needs to be something realistic, not something that's offering you 3,000% APY and things like that. You know what I mean? It needs to be something sensible. I think that might have something to do with the NFT technology that they do, NFT staking, that we already see working weekly for other projects, other NFT projects, and also for anyone that holds a Shiba NFT and holds Shiba on their wallet. That's been working flawlessly now ever since I've been involved with it. So, I'm not sure whether that answers your question or not. It's kind of it was kind of a vague question you put across. I hope you can appreciate that.
Well, a simple no would suffice, Sergeant Major. I'm just messing with you.
Well,
no, as far as I can tell you have a finance background. It sounds like you have a finance background anyways. Am I correct?
Money, I'm not sure finance, but money, yeah. So some form of professional background, money.
Gotcha. Okay. The only reason I asked, the question that I asked is more just based off NFTs, the gamification of NFTs themselves, not the financial aspect of it.
No. The staking systems that HSuite put in place, I don't think they're going to be based around NFTs. Beyond that, they might involve an NFT, but that might just be as, say, not necessarily an NFT that is sold like a Shiba NFT, but rather an NFT that is given to you as a token, as an exchange. So as a store of value, if you know what I mean. So you might deposit XYZ tokens, say HSuite, and you might receive, as I've said in the past, you might receive an NFT token in return for that, and that has a representative value of what you've actually put in. The difference is that now, instead of just putting your HSuite into a pot and leaving it there and receiving your APY, you get given something that you can then actually trade between other wallets. You can actually trade to someone else. So it's a little bit like what Stader did. You put your HBAR in, you get HBARX out. Well, that's liquid, isn't it? You can actually do something with that HBARX. You can trade it to someone else.
Sorry, if I can just interject, Sergeant Major.
Go for it.
I think there's just been a crossover with what he's asking. MetaZombies is actually referring to the NFT staking side of things more than the actual staking of tokens. So obviously, for instance, MetaZombies is one of our NFT staking clients. So by holding one of his NFTs, our smart nodes airdrop his clients or investors as such his token, which is Brain's token. What he's asking is will there be more gamification of basically, so you could visually see how many tokens you're collecting per day? It's more on the NFT side than the actual DeFi side of things. So my main answer to that, Jason, is basically a lot of people build the platform as such for NFT staking because they don't have the technology available to be able to run the scripts we run with the smart nodes to be able to airdrop those tokens to see if the NFTs are listed on an NFT marketplace and to be able to search those wallets that are holding it. So basically, for instance, I know you'd be referring to Solana. How Solana staking works is once you, even the non-custodial staking in Solana, because you record that transaction, it then allows them to be able to drop tokens to you because you've recorded a transaction on their smart contract but a transaction's needed on the smart contract in order to receive those tokens. Whereas because we don't use smart contracts, that transaction as such isn't needed. We can airdrop those tokens to you because we can run a JSON script and we can check all the IDs of whatever our NFT is being held at and then drop those tokens as such. So I hope that clears up the question, and then I'm going to go to Captain Brando. Sorry, Sergeant Rainbow, I just wanted to jump in because I think it was just what you're saying is absolutely perfectly correct. It's just I think that the question was different to what you're answering.
Yeah, no, sorry. When you came back and put it the way you did, no offense, it did sound a little bit different from the way it was put before. So I think I probably would have dived in that angle if it had been put a little bit more like you put it. But yeah, thanks for clearing that up for me.
Thanks, guys.
No
You're welcome.
worries. Sorry, 2 seconds. Yeah, Captain Brando, please go ahead, sir. How can I help?
Hey guys, how's it going? I just wanted to sort of jump in on what MetaZombie was saying. I think that's a really good point. Some part of this NFT staking, a big part of it is gamification, and how can we sort of provide the value of the gamification and an interface where people can sort of do fun things with their NFTs. And it's not just about staking and getting yield and making money. It's also about interacting and having clicks and touches and sort of maybe a sort of fun interface to kind of do that with. And that's sort of the question is, that's how I took it when he asked it, and I think that's a really good point.
Touching on that, bearing in mind, okay, so I'll just explain briefly how NFT even staking came about. So MetaZombies reached out to us and someone else when we first came into the ecosystem, and when I joined their Twitter AMA, they said, at Mortis, we don't have much utility for Hedera NFTs. Can you help us provide a utility to our holders by offering NFT staking? So I was like, yeah, we could probably do NFT staking. So obviously I went to the other co-founders and said, can we create an NFT staking function to help the community? And they were like, we're not an NFT project. And I was like, yes, but at the moment, Hedera is predominantly NFTs. They're asking for our help. It will gain favor with the community. Can we help provide a service? So, what Tamachi like, they were like, yeah, okay, we can do that. So what we've released at the moment is the bare bones of what we can offer staking wise. And, there's no reason in the future we can't, as you say, gamificate it up and offer other features to that. But just bearing in mind at the moment, development power is limited. And obviously we've got a roadmap and targets to hit. So obviously the main focus is obviously getting the decks live and everything else. Once all those features are out there on the roadmap and everything is running smoothly, then we can look at going back and upgrading things. So it's like even with the Shibar games, like once we release those, we'll always keep developing and improving what we've made and what we've created. There'll be constant development. It's not a case of, right, this is made now, we'll leave this, move on to the next thing. No. We will keep developing and building. And, the more the services get used, the more funds that go into the treasury, the more developers we can hire. And, once we can get to like 10, 15, 20, 30 developers, the limitation is not due to the brilliance of Tamachi and Apache. The limitation is to how many developers we have to actually facilitate those ideas. We have a million ideas that we want to do, but it's all about time management. There's only so many hours in the day, and there's only so many developers we have as it stands right now. In the future, we can build so much. As you know, if you bought into this project, you recognize the potential and the future of smart node technology. But as it stands right now, the NFT staking was to help the Hedera community. Yes, I understand, the gamification isn't there as such, but it did help. Yourself, MetaZombies, you have benefited from being able to offer NFT staking to your holders. And what's fantastic is once we released it, then another project released NFT staking, and then another dev team released NFT staking, and it was great because we weren't the only people offering it anymore, but we were the first people to do it, and it wasn't our main intention to do it. It's just no one else was doing it, and the community asked for our help, so we did it. And then someone else come along, and someone else come along. It's like, great, more developers. what people forget is we can't have one person who has a complete monopoly, and it's the same as NFT projects. So if we have 10 NFT launch pads, that's fantastic. It gives people the opportunity to use whichever 10 engines they want. The 10 marketplaces, fantastic. It means there's more opportunity. 10 dexes, 10 staking facilities. Look on Solana, there's like 20 different people that all offer NFT staking. Because from an outsider looking in, obviously we all believe in Hedera and HBAR, but from an outsider looking in, these are some of the fundamental questions that they ask is, okay, so what is it? What does it do? What do you currently have? And then when last year you say, well, okay, we don't actually have a marketplace at the moment, and we've got one wallet, and there's no DEX, and there's no NFT staking, and someone's building a launch pad, but it's not actually built yet. It's like, oh, right, okay, no, we'll stick with Solana. But now the ecosystem's growing, there's so much more to talk about. So, when you're talking about HBAR, so what you're doing? Well, LGTV just released their own NFT marketplace in their wallet. Okay, so what other wallets you got? Well, we've got Walla Wallet, Hashpack, Blade Wallet's just been built. Exact was a wallet back in the day, and the same as marketplaces. You've got Hash Guild, Hash Axis, Zeus. There's three. How many dexes have you got? Well, Source Swap's live. We'll be going live. Lehman Swap will be going live. Heli Swap will be going live, and that's just what we know of right now. So it gives people more excitement because they're like, oh, okay, like developers are coming to Hedera. Things are getting built. And the same as the launch pads, you've got Hash Tools, you've got Turtle Moon, you've got Zeus launch pad. Obviously, we've got our launch pads, and I think Hash Guild are also offering the launch pads. And I think is it NFT Me or NFTia, or also got I've also got a launch pad, and also another great thing as well that's come out quite recently is I think there used to be the Fugitives team, a guy called Imrak or something. He's it's my HBAR space. They're building things like Discord bots. So like if you sign up to their service and you hold a certain NFT, you can get certain roles into a Discord. And that's quite common on other blockchains and networks like Solana and that. But it wasn't common in Hedera. Like it wasn't here. But now it is. So when people compare our networks, it's like, yeah, when people say like, I know you are, but what am I? Or my daddy's bigger than your daddy. It's kind of like, yeah, well, we've got what you've got, but we've got a better network. Do you know what I mean? So the arguments are closing in because the advantages they had and the utilities they had are slowly closing in. And the only thing, they have on us now is they have mass adoption. They have more users. But because we've got more and more developers, people will start hopefully looking towards more to Hedera and going, okay, let's see what they've got. We've seen it with the Dead Pixels mint. A lot of Solana NFT investors, they came over for that mint. They've been buying into that. I know Hungary's in the crowd there. Hungary's going to be dropping an NFT project. The art's amazing. He's done his research. He's gone onto Solana. He's gone onto Ethereum. He's found out all the best things that work on all the other networks. And he's going to drop his project. And I'm hoping that, hits Hedera with a big bang as well. And Oreo there's got a profile picture. I don't even know their name. I know it's something Wizards, but they're an Ethereum project that's now come over to Hedera, which is fantastic, So slowly but surely, I think we will start seeing a mass adoption. And then when that happens, it's more about building the fundamentals now for when mass adoption happens, that we have all those tools, all those services, and all those products available to those investors when they come in. So people can't say, oh, but you don't have this, because we can say, well, actually we do, because they do this, or they do this, or they do that, or we've got that. And as you know, the Hedera community is really strong. So, but that's just my thoughts on it.
You bring up some really good points with that, because like with what you guys are doing with HSuite alone, offering the staking, the gamification that's coming on in the future, all of these things attached to a DEX. This is huge. I mean, it really is. Like, I've said it in personal conversations before as well. Like, this is something that's actually, it's not just a DEX, it's a full suite of services that you guys are providing to NFT projects, to investors. So it's not just one or the other, because like a lot of people get into it just for the NFT side. Some people get into it for just the investment side, and you guys are covering both bases and, continuing to build things out. So that's really, really awesome. So thank you for everything you guys are doing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, Jason. And our main focus was never to try and take a monopoly and build everything. It was more of a case of showcasing the possibilities of smart nodes to prove that smart nodes can be used with everything. And, we are talking, as I said, we have got partnerships at the moment that may eventually start using our smart node technology, and that projects may be powered by smart nodes. It's not our project, but our technology may be helping provide the technology required for their project. And that's the idea here, is the long-term vision is not only do we become the most decentralized cryptocurrency protocol out there by having our community nodes across all of our investors, but then projects start using smart nodes. And then, you've got maybe other DEXs in the future that are using our smart nodes that we've created when we're open sourced. And then next year, hopefully, I want to try and focus a bit on the business to business side of things, a little bit of alpha, I maybe using some of my real world contacts to try and bridge some Web2 businesses into Web3. Again, getting them to build on the native layer of Hedera powered by HSuite smart nodes, because the buzzword is Web3. There are lots of Web2 businesses that want to come into Web3 but don't know how. So, as a consultant, we can go to these businesses and say, okay, so you want to come into Web3? Well, why don't you come and check out Hedera? These are all the advantages of Hedera. And by the way, we could offer you a custom smart node private network that runs on Hedera to power your company. And they go, oh, well, that sounds good. And then you can onboard massive projects. It only takes so many blue chip massive companies to come into Hedera for more eyes. Do you know what I mean? It's like with the LGTV. I read it somewhere, but someone told me that, so I don't know how true it is, but they're going to be offering that technology that LG have done to other TV brands out there. So, there's going to be millions and millions of TVs out there that has all this technology and it's powered by Hedera. And then people look at, because it's a smokescreen, isn't it? In a way, it's like everything. You watch an ad. If you're interested in an ad, you click on the website. If the website looks good, you then read the white paper. But you need them to see an interest first before they deep dive into it and read into it. So by showcasing, certain buzzwords, like for ourselves, for instance, zero slippage DEX, first smart contractless DEX ever in history, not just a Hedera. There is no DEX out there on any network that doesn't use smart contracts, which is again only achievable on the Hedera network. There is no DEX out there on any network that has zero slippage apart from us, which is only possible on Hedera. These are great buzzwords in marketing. For us personally, it's a great marketing tool, but it's easier to sell a working product, as I said, than an idea of a product. It's very well saying, even though we've been audited by Hardborn Security, they verified it. They've done the audit. They've said, yes, it works. We're ready to go. Some people only believe what they see with their own eyes. It's like ghosts, for instance. Some people believe ghosts exist. Some people don't believe they see ghosts exist. But when people see a ghost, they go, okay, I believe in ghosts now. So, it's the same thing with technology. Sometimes people have to use the technology to understand it. And that's why we brought those animated videos, was as a visual aid. In those videos is no different to what we've been advocating to the community for months. But that animated video that we posted about smart contracts versus smart nodes has had maybe 4,000-5,000 views and was retweeted by Hedera. And everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. This is, genius. This is groundbreaking. And it's like, yeah, that's what we've been telling people. But sometimes, everyone has a different way of learning. Not everybody learns the same way. Some people learn by reading. Some people learn by visual aid. Some people learn by their hands and actually using it. So the idea is to target all of those different ways of learning to advocate for smart node technology in Hedera. And that's what we've been doing. Is people are starting to come around now and kind of understanding what we're actually building and the possibilities of smart node technology and what the future could possibly hold. You know, Tapachi said the other day in one of the proposal chats, which was very interesting. You know, I spoke to JK the other day about it as well. But, you know, the future of NFTs, I think, will be around like property. So, you know, in the metadata, you could have, like, say, for instance, I own my house and I want to sell it. Now, I employ a lawyer firm and they do all the legal documentation, and that's in the metadata. And then I can then sell my house just by a click of a button to do a secure trade, and now they own that house. But then it goes deeper than that, because now we have a DAO, proposal product that is live. So now imagine having smart nodes and our DAO system for a voting. Now, I'm not saying, you know, we'll get that big, you know, it's out there, but it's a possibility. Imagine, you know, a smaller country that wanted an unbiased government voting policy, or even, you know, in a local town or a village, and you hold a certain position within that village or town, and you had an NFT that represented that, and you could do an anonymous vote. And the voting system could be used for that. And again, that could be powered by smart node technology. And it, you know, it's all on the blockchain. There's no rigging. You can't, you know, it is what it is. So like the power here of smart nodes, you know, it is limitless. You know, it's not limited, and it could go a real long way. And you know, I am, you know, I am reaching here when I say, you know, it could go to like government level, or, you know, but it's a possibility, and it's the same as NFTs. You know, these are all possibilities, and that's the fantastic thing about Web3 and innovation, is that anything is possible.
I think. Sorry to jump in there, Mortis. I think that's our biggest challenge right now for everyone in the space, is that you've got all this emergent technology that is racing ahead right now and becoming available, and the world needs to catch up. Everything needs to catch up. Everything you speak about is possible, but how long is it going to take for everyone to get on board? If you know what I mean, that's the biggest question. I think that you know, it's like no one's going to jump on board when they don't even understand it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that we need to do everything we can to get as much information out there so people actually understand this. You know, you've got when Hedera came along, you've got these massive enterprises that have been building, you know, the governing council members, some of them have been building for, you know, 3 or 4 years, and they're still not out with a use case. And that's because they've been sat there for the last 3 years on the sidelines, watching this DLT technology, watching the space, and they've been, you know, scratching their heads, putting their best minds together and trying to figure out, what can we do with this? You know, what is this actually going to evolve into? Because it's growing. It's this amazing. We know the math behind it. The technology is sound, but what can we actually do with this ourselves? And there's a lot of very smart people, a lot smarter than myself, that believe that we haven't even had the killer apps yet even been thought up. You know, that the concepts haven't even actually been developed yet, that are really going to set, you know, the Web3 space on fire. So I think that's a really exciting thing to keep, you know, that we're all in our seats, sat back, relaxing, and we're all here for the ride, and we're going to be able to see what takes place in that, you know, in that zone, you know, what comes to light. Because obviously right now we're seeing things like smart nodes, you know, we're seeing the technology that just one small group of developers have put together with HSuite. You know, what's going to come in the next 5 years once even more money and investors start pouring into this space? You know, what's going to come out of all that? So that's what I'm excited about anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And just touching on that, I think, you know, what will help is like something as basic as LGTV with an NFT marketplace and a wallet. That helps with mass adoption, because that's lots of TVs, and you know, curiosity killed the cat as such. But when people are curious and they go, okay, so how does this run? And then they start asking themselves questions, then they start doing research. And then when they start doing research, they go, okay, this looks good. And then they start investing. And I think slowly, as more and more big companies out there, take this adoption of cryptocurrency, because we all know it's not going anywhere. I think the main fear factor for a lot of businesses and financial institutes and so on and so forth is there's no clear regulations on crypto at the minute, and obviously that scares companies. And especially if they're worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, it scares them going into it because they don't want potential lawsuits. But once that's been ironed out, and these bigger businesses start coming into the ecosystems as such, people are going to start going, okay, what's this? Like the stable coins. I know that Rob the Shark from HSuite Foundation was talking the other day about an Australian bank that's using a stable coin now. And it's things like that when banking systems and financial institutes, once they start getting their hands on these kind of things, it's in their interest to push it to their audience as such. That there's no bigger audience than financial institutes, banking systems, and that. Like they have the biggest clients in the world, and if they believe in the technology and they believe that this is going to change things, then they're going to push it onto their target audience. And as they push it onto their target audience, even people that weren't interested, they're like, oh, okay, now I've got to use this. Okay, what's this? And then once they're using the stable coin, then they start looking into other things, and it's all about pushing things into the direction of people. And then they start doing their own research, and like we all did. A lot of people in here, have only ever invested in HBAR, and that's fine. But there's a lot of people in here as well that have owned all different types of cryptocurrency. There's some people in here that started with, say, like Dogecoin, and then went, well, this isn't great, and then invested and then did their own research. But the point is that people were curious at one point, which is why they're here now. And they've come into Hedera because they've gone down that rabbit hole, and they've chosen this particular network as their home as such because they believe in the technology that's being built here. So as this happens more in a mass adoption, and it will be, the big massive companies that help move this, because it is financial institutes that move the markets. I know as retail traders, we like to think that, we have an effect on which way the market moves, but in reality, we don't. If we all should, even if we had like a couple of $1 million all between us and we all try to move the market, one hedge fund would drop 500 million or $1 billion and move that market. So it's about retail adoption, and once there's retail adoption here, then financial institutes will come, because once financial institutes realize that they can profit from retail traders, which unfortunately is the truth, then that kind of money will start flowing into the ecosystem. And then once that sort of money starts flowing into the ecosystem, we will see a massive change. And I think the change is coming. I'm not an influencer. I can't predict the future. I'm not going to say, Bitcoin is going to go to $100,000 next month, because I don't know that. No one knows that. And anyone who tries and predicts, cryptocurrency, like, and that's saying like Bitcoin will go to 100,000. Like how many crypto YouTubers said Bitcoin's going to $100,000 this year, and then most people are like 80% down on their portfolio this year. Like you can't predict that stuff. So we all know that it will happen. When will it happen? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? But the space has been open for over an hour now. So unless anyone has any further questions, I do thank you all for coming in and tuning in. Obviously, our next Twitter AMA, we will have some big news for you, hopefully. And I thank you all for being here. So if there's no other last questions, I will close the space. So I'll just give it 1 minute just to see if anyone requests a mic. Nobody did. Possible T, you're pretty quiet. Makes a change. You normally have a lot to say.
No, I just raised my hand to help Sergeant Major about the meta zombie question. I'm asking him to fill the proposal at our Discord about this idea. I think it's a pretty good, the idea. So go there to Discord.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. Do you know what, Possible T? That's what I like about you, Possible T. You think about things that I don't think about sometimes. Yeah, if anyone has any proposals about what they would like to see from HSuite, exactly what Possible T said, come and join the Discord and scroll down to DAO proposals and could create a proposal. If that's what you want to see, Jace, if that's what you want, if you want to see a gamification staking model, put in a proposal. It will go to the founding team, it will go to the committee members, we will discuss it. And, if obviously they think it's a good idea, it will go to a DAO proposal. And if the community are happy, it will be added to the roadmap, because we are a limited DAO. So yeah, please do put in proposals. If anyone has proposals about anything, about how the ecosystem can be improved, please do. We are all ears. Captain Brando, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate everything you guys is doing, and I think you guys are doing an excellent job. And what we were talking about earlier is just sort of the evolution of one direction of many that we could see the system going in. And we understand you guys are a small team and you guys are working really hard. It's easy for us to say, oh man, it would be great to do this and it'd be great to do that, but you guys have to focus on the high value add things first. And I think you guys have been doing a great job up to now, so just keep it up, man.
No, I appreciate your kind words. And yeah, we are a small team, and we are very fortunate that we are a very experienced team. And what I mean by that is we are all experts in our given profession, and it wouldn't have been possible without the truth is our committee members and our community, because it's you guys that give us the input that's required. That sometimes we don't know. I'm a slightly older gentleman. I never even used Twitter before Shibok around HSuite. I didn't even know what Twitter was, and now I've used it. I'm like, oh, this is great. It was actually Benny that told me about Twitter. He was like, you should get Twitter. It's good. So, we are a community, and it's a community project. So yes, although we are the founders, and obviously we do try to move the project in a professional manner, and we're the experts in what we do, but it is you guys and ladies that decide which direction we go. If you have great ideas, if you've got feedback, let us know. We listen. And if it's a good idea, we'll put it to a DAO proposal, and then we let the community decide. This is not a limited corporation. This is not some giant. We are a limited DAO, and if you have ideas, we will listen to them. It's not a dictatorship. So I know the committee has been very helpful, and so has the community. Giving us great ideas, and it's great. Because together we grow. People, if we were just a 3-man team that didn't listen to anyone, we wouldn't have got to where we've got to now. There's lots of private DMs that go on between, myself and other committee members and other project leaders, and we all try to help each other. People have come to me and asked, advice on NFT projects, or how would you do this, or what would you do this, and I give my advice on it. I don't ask for payment for it, but I believe that if all Hedera products work together and help each other, we help ourselves, because by helping the other projects out there, we help the ecosystem grow, and as the ecosystem grows, we all benefit. So that's just my final 2 cents on it, and I thank everyone for coming, and I thank everyone that gives input into our project and believes in what we're building. Thank you to Sergeant Major that came in and spoke. He will hopefully be with me on Twitter AMAs going forward. As you can appreciate, as Captain Brando said, we are a small team, so I'm trying to take Tapachi and Tamachi offline as much as possible so they can focus on what's important, and that's building. So, now and again they will pop in, but we need them to build. And thank you very much for your time, and we will speak to you all in 2 weeks' time with an update, and we will update you with any further partnerships that we've gone through. But thank you very much, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.